Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we want to talk a little bit more about the business succession planning. And I know we kind of brought it up before, but today I wanted to concentrate a little bit more of the tax issues. And then I was going to ask Irene about the legality of it. And in general, for my type of business, I work a lot with the smaller businesses. A lot of them are family owned. And about when I looked at just in the breakout of all the businesses in America, about 90% are just family-owned businesses, and only 30% continue to the next generation, and then half of those make it to the third. And so a lot of this kind of hard work gets lost, and a lot of people don't like to do the planning because they don't want to talk about the age and mortality. They don't want to kind of give up the life's work and sort of transfer it to anybody, whether it's your children or family members. And a lot of the times we really say you should start the succession planning. So while you're still young, when you have time to monitor the business, when you could work with the next generation and to see really all the work that you've put in, make it and seeing it prosper years and years after. Unfortunately, we're not seeing that. So there was a few things that could be helpful for people without really going too much in it. But there's a gifting annual exclusion that, for example, if you could give it not to just your children, but it could be anyone, and it's 17,000 per person or 34 per couple who files a joint return, and you could transfer some stock of the company to that person as a gift, 34,000 max from the couple per year. And then there's also this estate tax exemption, which is for the lifetime, and it's $10 million. And for some people, it could seem like it's a lot of money, but if this is a successful business, it might not be enough. So you could actually split it up between years, and you obviously have to work with the professionals to help you with it, but this is just something to keep in mind. And I also wanted to ask Irene about some of the cases that you're working on and something that you're seeing.
Yeah. So we've had very similar to what you're saying you're seeing in the numbers where you'll have somebody work their butt off to build the business, and then they either don't prepare to leave this over to the next generation. It's easier for them to sell, and a lot of the times they're just ill-equipped to sell for all the reasons we've talked about, whether there wasn't a proper appraisal done in the past or there are no audited financials prepared. And so eh, even if there is a good offer on the table, they could potentially be significantly lowballed. This is a year that we're seeing a lot more buy-sell agreements and a lot more transactions of individuals either coming into the business and purchasing new companies, or some individuals that are uh, looking to sell, and this is the year that they're getting out. And a lot of the times we'll have one or the other. So a lot of the times we will have long list of clients that are looking to just sell their business. And so they always tell me, do you have a potential buyer? And we'll always hold the list in case that ever comes up. This is a year that we have both sides finding it beneficial. Some people want to enter a new market. Some people just simply want to get out of market. This is very also industry specific. We're seeing this a lot on the healthcare side where there's a lot of movement. And we're also seeing this a lot on the retail side, whether it's liquor stores or retail clothing, anything that's branded as well. You have a lot, you have a lot of people trying to purchase new brands. Uh, Instead of having to start that from the beginning. And again, really going in kind of side by side, as many companies as want to be as are looking to go on the market and want to be sold, just as many potential buyers at this time exist, which is great. So this has been a big year for having a lot of transactions take place and get ready. But once you're in uh, a certain threshold, once you've reached a company valuation above, I would say even at 10 million, you should really know that that's actually what your company is worth, and it's not perhaps 20 on audited financials. And it could just be that it's a great year and it's a great time to match with the buyer like it was this year. Or simply it could mean that you're just significantly undervaluing your business. And we've seen a lot of opportunities lost because of that. So in terms of documentation to pass along to future generations, I always recommend get started about a year before you actually even think about putting the business on the market. A lot of times to establish the needed trust, holding companies, the needed um, breakdown if you're selling certain portions of the business, how to allocate everything, what there could be some potential contingent lawsuits that need to be closed out. Make sure that you've done your audited financials, that you did do a lean search and nothing else is going to come up, and you've exhausted all these legal expenses and accounting expenses, and then something pops up. So I always say start about a year beforehand before you ever really even put it on the market. And unfortunately, most people do not. And we get stuck there. And I know that it's one of those expenses that is hard to explain to a client. Why, if I'm not going to sell for a year, why would I invest any money into this now? Well, for years like the ones that we just had, where it's very quick to find somebody, or you are sure that you're going to be selling the business, it's an absolutely necessary expense. We have had quite a few transactions stall, and quite a few transactions just simply not take place because the company was not ready. So passing along to the next generation, one of the biggest things that Jane touched up on and mentioned was, do your children even want the company? You may allocate a certain percentage over to them or a certain amount of the sale price. You may do a promissory note to the children, but they may be in a different tax bracket and they just may not even want that. Or they may not want to continue running the business afterwards, and you're depending on that. It's important to get these conversations going so you could take advantage of times like we have right now, where you have a lot of these transactions taking place and you're prepared for them. So if it's something that the that you're thinking of in your business, you're thinking of an exit plan. That exit plan, whether keeping in the family, whether it's going to be selling over to a buyer, another company, merging with another company, private equity, investment banking, whether it's, again, the smallest transaction of just simply including your children in your business. Why I say small is it seems like the easiest, right? To investment banking, please start planning for that beforehand. At least speak to the advisors to know what you're looking at. I have found for the most part, there's actually more expenses of doing it on the back end. As hard as that is as a business owner to think about, why exert all this in the beginning, we have actually found that it's a worthwhile expense for the most part, if you're actually serious about selling, of course.
Right.
So if there are any questions on this at all, on how to plan, this is something that I recommend sitting down with your accountant, usually is first, your tax attorney, your business attorney, to make sure that all the documents are together, do litigation searches, but get the financials together first. And that's where you're going to start with accounting on that first, and the numbers first, to understand where you're going to be and how you're going to be able to negotiate this. So if there are any questions, and this is something that you've been thinking about, selling the business, potentially that succession or exit plan, please feel free to reach out to Jane or I. We're happy to answer any questions that may come up and really just get you started on that plan.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.